Hey guys, in this tutorial I will be teaching you how to pipe this Christmas mini set. My boxes and cupcake recipe are linked in my description. Let's start with this anomie. For my tips I will be using PME number 1.5, Wilton 104, and Wilton number 32. For my colors, I'm using a Color Mill whitener and Sugar Flare Black Extra. Before we start, the thicker part of my tip will always be facing towards the center of my cake. I found my center, and as you can see, I'm quite upright. My buttercream is nice and cool to get that crisp petal. And notice, as I'm slowly going around, I'm only covering the very edge of the cake to get a nice and symmetrical flower. And with my last petal, I'm just going to cover this open seam. I'm going in with my Wilton number 32, buttercream is nice and soft, and I'm just filling the center. My stamens I'm piping with PME 1.5, pointing them upwards, adding a very beautiful detail. And now for our fun Christmas tree. We're going to need some gold pearls, which I've linked for you guys in the description. My tip I'm using is Wilton number 32, and for my colors, I'm using a Sugar Flare Spruce Green and a Color Mill whitener. To get this nice frosted effect, I've randomly smeared some white buttercream on the sides of my bag and then added my green frosting. We're starting at the edge of the cupcake, nice soft icing, and I'm slowly lifting my tip and going around in a circle a few times, and then giving a final squeeze at the end to complete our tree top. And lastly, just decorating with a gold pearl. Alright, moving on to our Christmas rose. For our tips, we'll need the Wilton number 12, Wilton number 104, and our good old leaf tip 352. For the colors, I'm using Sugar Flare Christmas Red with a touch of claret, and Sugar Flare Eucalyptus and Spruce Green. Going in with my Wilton number 12, first find the center and pipe a little mount for our flower, about 1/2 inch. My buttercream is quite cool and the flat end of the tip is facing towards the cake. Now pay very close attention here. I'm leaning in with my tip and draping the leaves over the center, forming a rosebud. For my next set of petals, I'm changing direction. I'm actually quite parallel to the flower. I'm overlapping each petal, starting in the middle of the previous one. For my next set of petals, I'm changing direction again as I'm leaning the tip outward and kind of dragging it across the cake as our flower blooms. And for the final set of petals, my tip is almost parallel with the cake. This finishes off the rose nicely. So what I've done here is run a strip of eucalyptus buttercream up my bag, and this will give a beautiful effect to your leaf. Nice soft buttercream, I'm facing the open beak towards the cake and giving it a jiggle. Alright, let's pipe our mini pine cone. For our tips, I'm going to be using Wilton number 102, Wilton number 3, and Gem 1R. For my colors, I'm going to be using Color Mill White, Sugar Flare Spruce Green, and Dark Brown. I'm going in with my Gem 1R, finding the center and piping a fat mount with a peak, giving it a good squeeze before I pull up. So what I've done here is I've run a strip of white icing up my piping bag, and I'm making sure that it's facing towards the thin end of our tip. With my 102, I'm leaning in, tapering our pine cone. Nice soft buttercream, I'm going around, overlapping each strip. It's kind of like fish scales. As I'm going down my pine cone, I start to lean my tip outwards, always checking from the top. And just take notice here for the bottom portion to finish off our pine cone, my tip is almost parallel to the cake and I'm dragging it across. Alright, and for our greenery, I'm using a Wilton number 3. You're gonna have a nice soft icing, give it a firm squeeze for a thick base and pull outward. You're officially ready to pack your first Christmas order.